This is Richard Ramirez. He terrified Southern California with a rampage of violence during the summer of 1985. The murderous drifter from Texas, who had come to be known as the Night Stalker, beat, raped, strangled, shot and cut the throats of his victims in a spree of violence which he claimed was a tribute to Satan. Upon being convicted of 13 murders and 30 other felonies, a body of work that sentenced him to the gas chamber, Ramirez delivered a remorseless, chilling monologue.
Long before, and the fact remains that what is. You don't understand me, you are not expected to, you are not capable of it. I am beyond your experience. I am beyond good and evil. Legions of the night breed. Repeat not the errors of Nightcrawler and show no mercy. I will be avenged. Lucifer dwells within us all.
He was convicted and sentenced to death in 1989 and died in 2013 while awaiting execution. This is Thomas Michael TJ Lane. Judging by his court video, TJ did not regret his actions when randomly killing 3 students and injuring another 3 with a handgun. He was sentenced to life without a chance of parole for the shooting deaths of 3 Chardon High School classmates. John Wayne Gacy carried out 33 murders between 1972 and 1978 in suburb Chicago, Illinois. The contractor and part-time children's birthday clown would lure teenage boys back to his home, enticing them with the promise of partying or construction job opportunities, before raping, strangling and burying them in his crawl space. The law finally caught up to Gacy in 1978 when a concerned mother alerted authorities that her son had disappeared with the man. Gacy would confess to detectives the entirety of his crimes, though he would later recant and joke at his trial that the only thing he was guilty for was running a cemetery without a license. The jury found him guilty of dozens of other murders and sentenced him to death. Gacy was executed in 1994, and he offered some very sufficient last words as a retrospective of his life and crimes. This is Michael Swanson. Michael wasn't like most kids, as he'd have a difficult time sleeping and socialising, as well as he would commit regular acts of aggression towards his mother, which she confessed to. By 11, even Michael's psychiatrist said that he was a lost cause, and by 17, he had committed the murder of 2 Iowa mothers in a gas station. Whilst he was on trial, he would smile and laugh nearly the whole time. He will be in prison for the rest of his life.
I want to know if you're even sorry. Are you sorry for what you did? My mom was not only completely 100% innocent, but she was also a defenseless woman when you came in with that gun.
Cold-blooded murder, young man. And your counsel wants us to believe that you lack the capacity, that you were insane. There is no place for you in an open, law-abiding society. Prison for the rest of your life is the only alternative.
This is Scott Nelson. He was sentenced to life for a first-degree murder of nanny Jennifer Fulford. He testified at trial, saying he did in fact kill her.
Who killed Jennifer Fulford?
I did.
And at the penalty phase, he took the stand again and asked the jury to sentence him to death. Nelson had a tough life, being abused as a kid, spent 25 years in prison, and had head injuries. Authorities said Nelson broke into the house of Fulford's employer on the 27th of September 2017. Where he kidnapped her and killed her, so there wouldn't be any witnesses. At the time of the murder, Nelson was on probation for a robbery conviction. He testified that his probation officer caused him to lose his job and become homeless. Nelson said on the stand, Jennifer Lynn Fulford would be alive today if not for the probation officer. I think the world should know that.
I was employed in Winter Park for a painting company by a alleged Christian family who took it in their interest because I was such a dedicated, hard worker, allowed me to live at their employment. Prior to that, I had been homeless after being released from federal custody, thrown to the street, homeless with no money. My federal supervised release officer, after suffering on the streets of Orlando for many months with no identification, thanks to the Federal Bureau of Prisons throwing out my IDs, he made it a point to create a situation with my employer/landlord, which is one of the same. And he got me thrown on the street and said, "What are you, blank, crazy for letting this man live here? And you're gonna let him work here? Get him out of here." And that got me thrown on the street. My plan was to get some money and abscond.
Abscond from your probation?
Oh, I think anybody would. I suffered to work my way up to the top of the mountain, and this maniac comes and cuts it out from underneath me. I mean, What am I going to do? Go get another job? Let him do it again? No, we're going to fight back.
And you don't know or didn't know Jennifer Fulford?
No, I don't.
There was nothing that either one of them ever did to you that would have resulted in you taking some sort of revenge on them for some moral cause.
I believe the term is collateral damage.
All right. Instead of taking a normal route to deal with somebody that you disagree with on a professional level, you took another route to make your point.
Yes. You kick a dog enough times, they tend to bite back. And really, they just don't care anymore.
This is Randall Moore. He's facing 3 life sentences for the murder of his wife, Therese Ann Lynch. Lynch had left her husband and filed a protective order against him, which resulted in Moore kidnapping and killing his estranged wife. At Moore's sentencing, Lynch's mother gave a victim impact statement.
You are now dead and rotting and repulsive to me.
Read the journal she wrote. She hated you. She hated you. You're a loser. I'll tell you point blank, I have not 1 ounce of remorse for Therese Ann's death.
Moore refused to apologise for his actions, and now is facing 3 life sentences.
When you get to prison, there are 2 men you ought to look up, because you have a lot in common. One of them, I sentenced on May 3rd, 2010. He murdered his wife. She was divorcing him. He was lying in wait till she got out of work, then followed her on the freeway, pulled up beside her, put his weapon out the window, shot her. On September 30th, 2010, I sentenced a young man to murder. Now, he wasn't married to the woman he murdered. He was living with her. And she was leaving him. He strangled her to death. You 3 have so much in common, I can't believe. Yeah, shake your head, yeah, because you know you do. And I just can't believe what I've heard, but I am really glad you had your right of elocution and you could say everything that you said, because if anybody didn't know what a piece of work you were before you start talking, they know it now. You're cowards. You truly are cowards. You prey on women, they give you their love, they give you their trust, and you betray that. You betray it by physically and or mentally abusing these women. And they stay with you. Because I think what they probably are doing is, I love this person, I trust this person, this must be some sort of aberration. This just is not the man that I married or that I fell in love with. And they're right. You weren't the man that they thought you were. So anyway, you start abusing them, and then when they finally have had enough, they try to leave. And you guys just can't understand why they leave such wonderful men.